Regarding the algebra of functions or how to deal with algebra of functions, it has to do with the natural operations of numbers, which are addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So since we can do any of this to all the real numbers, or to any real number, we can also do that to functions. So for example, if I have two functions, I'm just going to call the first function f of x, 3x squared minus 2. And if I have a second function, I'm just going to call that g of x just so that they don't have the same name, 4 plus x. Just two random functions. We can add them up, we can subtract, we can multiply, and we can also divide those two functions. Okay, so if I'm adding those two functions, if I'm virtually adding those two functions, I'm going to come up with the name of f plus g of x. What this means, or you can just write it like this. I think the most common way to write it is like this, right? F plus g of x means that you have to take the f of x function and you have to add the g of x function through the normal algebraic rules, right? So my f of x function, I'm just going to color code it now. My f of x function is going to be blue and my g of x function is going to be green. So what is my f of x function right now? That's 3x squared minus 2. And it says that I have to add my g of x function, which is 4 plus x. So for addition and multiplication, it's really simple. Right? It's really simple. So all you have to do in here is try to combine like terms, right? 3x squared, that doesn't combine with anything. I don't have anything else to combine. The regular x, that doesn't have anything to combine either. And then the two numbers in the middle, that's negative 2 plus 4. That's going to be positive 2. So this is my new function. This new function is going to carry the name of f plus g of x, which means I took the f function and added the g function, and this is the outcome. Okay. Now this is adding the functions algebraically, right? You can also subtract the function. So if instead of saying f plus g of x, it says f minus g of x, it means I have to take the f of x function and subtract. I'm going to put it in parentheses, the g of x function, the whole g of x function. I'm going to subtract it. Okay, so in this case, what is the f of x function? The same one, right? 3x squared minus 2. And then I have to subtract the whole g of x function, which is 4 plus x, the whole function, not just the 4. Okay, and then I'm going to try to simplify this expression a little bit. So I'm going to break the parentheses first. That's a negative times 4, that's negative 4. And then a negative times positive x, that's negative x. Okay, and then I can combine like terms. So you get rid of the parentheses and then you combine like terms. 3x squared, and then the x in the middle is minus x. And then if you combine those two numbers in the middle, that's going to be negative 6. Negative 2 minus 4, negative 6. So this new function is going to carry the name of f minus g of x. Can you see those are quite different, right? The f plus g and the f minus g, those are quite different functions, and they represent different graphs. The same thing you can do for multiplication, which is going to be denoted fg of x. You know, when you have two letters together, it means that they are multiplying. So that means, in terms of the functions, it means you're going to take f of x and you're going to multiply times g of x. So let's see, we can get the result on here. So it says that f of x is 3x squared minus 2. I'm going to multiply this times the g of x function, which is 4 plus x. Okay. And this point, since we haven't done algebra 2, we haven't reviewed any other techniques of simplifying these expressions. This is just going to be the result, right? That's the final result. I'm just going to write it all together, 3x squared minus 2 times 4 plus x. That's my final result, and this function carries the name fg of x. That's my fg of x function, and the same is going to be for division, or very similar, right? So for division, we're going to denote this f over g of x, which means I'm taking the f function and dividing it by the g function. Okay, so let's see what the result in this case is going to be. So that's a f of x function, that's the same one, 3x squared minus 2. And the rule says, since this is a division, I'm dividing that by the g of x function, which is 4 plus x. Okay, and at this point, again, we haven't reviewed any rules of a simplifying expression, so we're just going to leave it as it is, which is 3x squared minus 2 divided by 4 plus x. And this is going to carry the name f over g of x. Okay, this is the basic algebra of functions. We're just combining them super simply. For the additions and subtractions, we have to combine like terms and try to simplify the most because we know those rules right now. For multiplications and divisions, we're not going to simplify. You just have to put those two functions together and you'll be good to go. Okay, so I'm going to do a follow-up of this video into some other examples or something slightly different that comes in the